Okay, so in this video I just wanted to give you kind of an overview of WordPress and show you how it works. So we're back over at our site, Rapid Site Creation. You can see what the default looks like once it's been installed. Now to log in, we just need to put a slash on the end and put wp-admin and hit return. You'll be redirected to the login form, so you can simply type in your username and password to log in and then click on login. Okay, on the left hand side you will see where it says home. Now this is where your home screen dashboard is. Now this gives you some links which are also contained down the left hand side. You've got write your first blog post, add an about page, view your site. Now these can also be found here at the top, view site, and posts, add new is on the left. So everything that's here is also on the left hand side. So let's go down one by one. Okay, under updates, this is where WordPress will check to see if there's any new updates to the software. Now you want to keep an eye on this. On the right hand side of where it says updates, you'll see like a number which would say 1. That would mean that there's an update available, so you just need to click in there and click on the install now option once there is an update available. You'll want to make sure you keep on top of that and keep it updated very regularly. On the left hand side we've got posts, and as it says we've just got all posts, add new, categories and tags, and this is where you manage all of your posting activity if you're going to be running a blog. So underneath posts you can see there's a sample here. We can click on view to take a look at what that looks like. You can see very simply the titles here, hello world, welcome to WordPress, this is your first post, and there's a comment there which also comes by default with the installation. Okay, let's click on back. Underneath add new, this is where you add a new post. You can put a title in for your post up here, and the contents of the post will go underneath. And then we've got categories which we can assign new ones, we can assign tags, and also set a featured image. Now we're going to go through each of these in a separate video in depth on how to use them, but this is just a brief overview of how it works. Okay, on the left we've also got categories. You can create categories for your website to store all your posts in to keep it all organized. And very similarly with tags, and we'll explain the difference in a later video. Underneath media you've got a library and add new. So your media library is where you'll store all your images. Underneath pages and all pages we can see the pages that are in the site, and there's a sample page here. We'll click on view. Now this is different from a post, as in this is a page like you would set up, say, an about page or a terms and conditions page. And your website can also be styled to look like a traditional website as opposed to a blog, and for that you can set up a lot of different pages as such. Okay, let's go back, and obviously under add new is where you add new pages, and very similarly to the posts you create a title, the content will go underneath, and here is where you publish. Underneath comments on the left hand side, this is just an area that would list all the comments that you've received on your site. Every time you make a post there will be a section underneath where people can leave comments, and this is where you can approve them or delete them. On the left hand side we've got appearance. Underneath themes, this will show your default theme which has been installed. We can obviously change the themes, we'll go through that in another video. With default installation of WordPress there also is one other theme available which you can just activate and take a look at there, but we'll go through that more in depth. Okay, underneath there you've got customize as well, and this is where you can make some very small changes to the site title and the tagline and some of the colors, but we don't need to worry about that at the moment because we're going to change the theme. Okay, let's close that. Underneath widgets, on the right hand side here, you can change some of the design for the site. You can add new functionality like the pages section. You can drag this in, which basically makes your site look different. At the moment, on the right hand side of our posts, we've got the recent posts, comments, archives, categories and meta. Now if we look at the site by going to rapid site creation at the top here and clicking on visit, once we go into a post, you can see at the bottom here we've got the categories, meta, recent posts, recent comments and archives, and that's also the same on the home page, and that's basically styled based on the widgets that you've got on the right hand side here. On the left we've also got menus. This is where you can create custom menu structures, and header. This is where you can change the header image for the site. And underneath editor, this is basically all the template files which make up the theme that you're currently using. And if you know programming language, HTML or PHP or even CSS, you can make some edits to this and make the site look different. On the left we've got plugins. Now this is where we can install new plugins for the site which adds functionality to your WordPress install. We're going to go through all of this in depth, so don't worry about that at the moment. Here is where you add a new one, and very similarly to the appearance editor, you've also got editor here to change any of the code in the plugins. We've also got users down the left hand side. This is your username and your email account. You're the administrator. You can create new users and give them privileges to be an editor, so they can only post and edit posts. They can't change any of the other content or any of the other settings rather. Underneath tools, we don't really need to concern ourselves with this. There's a bookmarklet here which you can drag into your browser to very easily clip pages, but we don't need to worry about that. Underneath import, you can import content from another blog platform that you've used in the past, and you can also export all of the content that you've built up in your new site in case you need to do that and transfer to another blog platform. Underneath settings, we can change the site title here. We can also add a tagline to our site. We can change our WordPress URL. I like to always have the www there. When you do an automatic install, sometimes you don't have the www. I like to put it in. And on the left we've also got writing. Scrolling down you can see where it says update services. Now because we've prevented any search engines from accessing our site at the moment, when you allow them access you will get some URLs come up here, which basically means anytime you make a post to your site that these update services or these websites will be notified that there's a new update to your site, and then the search engine crawlers can come along and find the content. But we'll get more in depth into that as well. Underneath reading, this is where you can change your front page display, your latest posts. You can also change it to a static page. So the first thing that people see when they come to your site, we can create a static page of content for them to see, but we'll get into that. Underneath discussion, these are all the settings for the comments and the discussions that are going on your site. Underneath media, this is just some information about image sizes and the maximum you need to pay attention to when uploading images. And permalinks, and this is how we style how the links look on your site, and we're going to need to go ahead and change some of that. Okay, so that just gives you a very brief overview, because it can be overwhelming when you log into WordPress and you see all these different options, and you might think to yourself that this looks overwhelming and very confusing. So I thought it was a good idea to create a very brief overview of these, and obviously we're going to go in depth in how to set up WordPress for what you require.